Hey everybody, I am back, and I know we're in my office, which means typically that we're going to do a noise complaint, and there is a story out there in the news that is AV related that I do want to discuss with you, but I thought I would take this opportunity also to kind of fill you in on what has happened in the past week and why I have been MIA from YouTube for, about 10 days. Let's rewind a little bit. Rewind the tape back to just before last weekend. Not this weekend we just wrapped up, but the weekend before. I was set to travel and was traveling for one of my commercial clients, Jobber. Lo and behold, a day, maybe a day and a half before I was supposed to take off for Louisville, I began to become symptomatic with a condition that I have. And so it made that time very stressful because one of the things that my condition really is difficult for me is traveling or being set at, stationary. It causes a lot of anxiety. So the fact that I'm not a very good traveler in the first place, the fact that I started to feel symptomatic, knowing I was going to have to get on a plane, knowing that I was potentially going to be in a metal tube in the sky, not my favorite thing in the world, for hours to get to Louisville and then potentially, be sitting in like a chair for hours while interviewing people and filming, I just started to become very anxious, very anxious. Well, I got back from that job. What was it? Whatever it was. I got back from that job last Friday, a week from last Friday, sometime Friday night, and became full-blown sick. So I know a lot of you watching this are going, what the damn hell's going on? Like, why do we need to know this? What happened to you? Well, about 5 years ago, I was taken to the hospital with abdominal pains. And it was at that time that I found out, or I should say, through various hospital visits, it was at that time that I found out that I have a condition known as prostatitis, which I didn't even know was a thing. And there are two types of prostatitis, apparently. There's a bacterial kind in which they give you a bunch of antibiotics, you take them, and you are fine. And then there is a viral kind, which is just something that you kind of live with, and it's in your body. And it's not transmissible. It's not that anybody gave it to me, I not give it to anybody else. It's just like, I guess, something that I have. And as a result, when it decided to manifest itself at 33, 34 years old, somewhere in there, it hit me like a ton of bricks and immobilized me for the better part of a year. Now, when I say immobilize me, it basically, prostatitis is like a swelling, a massive swelling of the prostate gland. And it can cause scarring, it can cause damage to your bladder, and it can cause very, very debilitating, severe abdominal pain. And it can make doing everyday things like using the restroom completely and utterly anxiety-inducing, because when that part of your body is angry, your brain doesn't know how to process not only the pain, but the sensation of using the restroom or not using the restroom. You kind of don't know when you're going and when you're not. And so you can see how this can cause a lot of anxiety. And so anyway, the doctors at that time, in their infinite wisdom, to make me more comfortable, put me on put me on a increasingly more powerful set of painkillers, i.e. opioids. And so, yes, the opioids that I was given to deal with the pain did, in fact, deal with the pain. But as a result, I then became very dependent upon them. And so for the better part of almost 18 months, 2 years, I was a habitual user of opioids and painkillers while trying to mask the symptoms of this thing. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Well, because I'm not entirely sure when my condition sort of ramped down and when I was just a full-on kind of abuser of painkillers, because I never felt anything once we kind of got to that dosage of opioids that just made it possible for me to just go through life without a care in the world. And so I wasn't really paying that close of attention to my body and the signs of when these things, this viral infection in me is going to rear its head and go away. And so it has been quite a while. I have good days and I have bad days, but normally when I call it a bad day, it's usually just a mild inconvenience, some mild pain, and it goes away in 24 hours, maybe 48, but it's totally livable. I can take like a leave and I'm fine. But this past week was pretty much as bad as it has been or was when I was originally diagnosed. In fact, there were several instances where Christy and I thought that I was going to have to probably go to the hospital. And that terrifies the living shit out of me because I live in constant fear of becoming addicted to pain medication again. In fact, I very, very rarely even take Advil. And if you are ever in my presence and I take so much as Advil or Tylenol, I have this weird tick now that when pills are in my hand, I count them and I check the labels because I'm terrified. I don't trust myself that I'm going to take too much or I'm going to take the wrong thing or I'm going to slip and want to feel better. And therefore, I'm going to take something I'm not supposed to. And there was a moment when I was flying back from GIE for Jobber where I was in such distress, such pain, that I was texting from 30,000 feet with Christy, begging her to find me opioids because that's how bad it was. And as I was texting her, I knew that I was panic. I was having a panic attack. I was freaking out, and yeah, so it was a really distressful time. And a lot of times when I get like that, when I get sick, I want to distract myself. I want to be creative. I want to create things. And so, I got back from GIE. I laid low for the weekend, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to review. I'm going to make videos on Monday. And Christy stepped in and stopped me. And I spent the better part of last week on my back, which I hate being inactive, but I spent the large portion of my week on my back getting better. And the whole time feeling absolutely 100% guilty about it because I felt like a waste of space. And it was very difficult for me. And so I was trying to keep you guys all updated. I wasn't really sure if I was even going to make this video because who wants to know about some guy on YouTube who talks to you guys about record players? Who wants to know about his health problems? Who wants to know about something as personal as a prostate? Suffice to say, I didn't know anything about prostates at all until I was 33 years old and was told that I live with one that is more commonly associated with someone in their 80s. And that's just the way it's going to be. And that sucks because, like I said, when this decides to get aggravated, when my stress levels get to a certain extent, or I spent too much time sitting, being lethargic, I don't get enough exercise, I eat garbage food, when I do too much of those things, it causes it to flare up. And when it does, I am in excruciating pain, and my brain doesn't know if it's coming or going, and then I just start to cycle. I start to spiral, if you will, out of control, because all I want to do is be out of pain, and my brain knows exactly how to do that, except that is not in my best interest, so we don't do that. But I am on the mend. Today is day 3 of being largely symptom-free. And the reason I say largely is there is no such thing as a day for me where I don't have some little tinge of something. So here in the house, we have everything on a scale of 1 to 10. Anything below a 3 is considered a normal day. Anything above a 3, we start to monitor why. We start to, take precautions, maybe change some things up. Anything over a 6 or a 7, we start to get concerned. And 8, 9, or 10, like where I was at, it's seriously having conversations about going into the hospital or a doctor for some sort of hopefully immediate relief. But yes, we are at a 1. We're at a 1 today, and it's a good day. It's freezing outside in Austin, but I like it because it's been like 300 degrees here until 2 days ago. So I'm enjoying it. Christy's walking around the house somewhere totally miserable and freezing, but I absolutely love this weather. So that is the update, everyone. And I know this is personal and all this stuff, but honestly, I think that it's important that if you have something like this, you have a condition of your own, that you don't feel ashamed of things like this, that you don't self-medicate or suffer in silence. As you guys know, I have been somewhat vocal, or I haven't hit it, that I have bouts of depression and anxiety, and those have all been things that I have dealt with for most of my life. The prostatitis stuff is brand new, or newer, but it's important. It's important that you have someone, somewhere, something in place to help you when the chips are down. And so if me being forthright with you about something that I find incredibly embarrassing at times is helpful, then great. I want to be that support for you, because you guys being very kind and watching and sending me your well wishes have been incredibly, incredibly helpful to me this past week. So please do not suffer alone, suffer in silence, and don't self-medicate with things that can hurt you, even though in the moment they may make you feel very, very good indeed. So yes, I promised there was going to be a noise complaint, like an on-topic message here. So Netflix is going to be testing, or is thinking about testing, a way for you to watch back content at 1.5 or double speed, and don't do that. Don't do that. That's just another way that I think that we continue to devalue art. And if there's one thing that I really want to put a focus on, not only with this channel, but just my own work and my own peace of mind as I get older, is I don't want to devalue anything. I don't want to just get through it. It's not about consuming, it's about appreciating. And as you know, that's why I like vinyl records. That's why I make the videos the way that I do. I take my time and I want things to be right. And I want people to appreciate the effort that goes into so much of what we take for granted. And I do feel like Netflix testing this thing to allow people to just consume more at twice the speed because it helps their bottom line is just another way that we continue to devalue the things that are most important to us. And that is art and expression, and it's not necessary. That is my take on this whole Netflix thing since I heard about it over the weekend. I thought it was just kind of absurd. So yeah, anyway, that is my message for you all today. I know it's a bit personal, maybe even a little gross for some of you. I know there are people watching this that are like, oh, please just talk about another piece of gear. And we will. There is a lot of gear in-house that we will be discussing. But at the same time, like I've always said, I want this channel to be more than just gear. I want it to be a place. I want it to be a community. I want it to be more than that, because I think enjoying music, enjoying the little things in life, the finer things in life, entertainment on a whole, it is a lifestyle. It is more than just, raw numbers and figures. Like I said, you don't listen to specs. You don't listen to charts. You listen with your ears, you watch with your eyes, and so all of those things matter. So anyway, there you go. That's my 2 cents, everybody. I thank you guys so much for all of the well wishes that you sent me this past week and for sticking in there so very, very much. Gear reviews, topics, bit perfects, and even real noise complaints are coming this week. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, the only person that has to like the sound of your system is you. So until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.